Extreme discipline will make you unrecognizable. That's the goal. Miyamoto Musashi achieved it and became the greatest samurai philosopher in history. His work, The Book of Five Rings, is the complete system for building that discipline. These 5 rings teach 5 principles to transform you from soft to savage. By the end of this, you will have a precise blueprint for forging unbreakable self-control. We begin with the Earth Ring, which shows you exactly how far you have to go. The Earth Ring teaches brutal self-assessment. Most people think they're busy. They're not. They're distracted. Musashi wrote of the twofold way of pen and sword. He meant you must master your mind and your body equally. But first, you must see where you truly stand. After his most famous duel, killing the legendary Sasaki Kojiro, Musashi didn't celebrate. He disappeared into a cave for 2 years. The winner spent 2 years studying his own weaknesses, analyzing why he almost lost. That is Earth Ring thinking. Let's see what this looks like today. Meet Gohan. He thinks he's productive. He wakes up tired, grabs his phone, and checks emails in bed. Starting the day strong, he tells himself. He gets to work late, opens 15 tabs, and bounces between tasks. His lunch break is a 90-minute YouTube spiral. The afternoon is more tab switching, more phone checking. He gets home at 7 p.m., exhausted from being busy. Sound familiar? Gohan decided to track every minute of his time for 1 week. The results were devastating. 6 hours a day on his phone. 2 hours of actual, focused work. 8 hours of empty motion that produced nothing. The Earth Ring principle is this. Know the smallest things and the biggest things. This means you must know every brutal detail and the full picture. Most people know neither. Here's what tracking reveals. You aren't busy. You're weak. You don't have a time problem. You have a focus problem. You don't need more hours. You need to use the ones you have. Gohan's revelation hit like a physical blow. He wasn't a productivity machine fighting against the clock. He was a distraction addict lying to himself. His packed schedule was a facade. Most people discover they are genuinely productive for maybe 2 to 3 hours a day. The rest is fake work, busy work, avoidance disguised as effort. This is why motivation fails. You cannot motivate yourself out of a delusion. You need Earth Ring honesty first. Track everything. See the ugly truth. In his Dakoto, Musashi wrote, "Accept everything just the way it is." He didn't mean accept your fate. He meant accept reality, not the story you wish were true. Once Gohan saw his real numbers, 6 hours on his phone, 2 hours of real work, everything changed. Not because he tried harder, but because he could no longer unsee the truth. But knowing the truth is just step 1. The real battle begins when you try to change. When you attempt discipline, reality fights back. This is where the water ring saves you. Gohan saw the truth, 6 hours wasted, 2 hours productive. His response? A complete, immediate overhaul. Wake at 4 a.m. 2-hour workout. 8 hours of deep work. Cold showers, meditation, and 2 hours of reading nightly. He lasted until 6 a.m. on day 1. He quit everything by noon. This is the classic mistake. Musashi wrote that water adopts the shape of its receptacle. Most people misinterpret this as be flexible. It's not that simple. It means stop fighting reality with fantasy plans. In his first 20 duels, Musashi reportedly never used the same weapon twice. A sword, a spear, a wooden, or even his bare hands. He was learning that a rigid plan shatters against a dynamic opponent. Your weakness is that opponent. You see it, so you create a perfect, military precision schedule. Then reality hits, you fail, and you quit, telling yourself you're not disciplined enough. Wrong. You're not water enough. Here's what Gohan learned. Instead of waking at 4 a.m., he woke up 30 minutes earlier than usual. Instead of a 2-hour workout, he did 10 push-ups. Instead of 8 hours of deep work, he did one 25-minute focus session. It felt pathetic, but by the end of the week, he hadn't missed a single day. He'd done 70 push-ups and 175 minutes of focused work. The water ring principle in action. Flow around obstacles instead of smashing into them. Can't do 100 push-ups. Do 10. Can't read a chapter? Read 1 page. Can't meditate for 20 minutes? Do 2. Even Musashi started with a wooden sword, practicing basic cuts for years. The strategic genius here is immense. Musashi wrote, "Make the enemy think you are far away when you are near." Applied to discipline, it means you make the resistance think it's winning, while you're quietly stacking victories. Your brain expects you to quit after 10 minutes at the gym. Go for 11. Each small win rewires your identity. You become someone who doesn't quit. Discipline isn't heroic effort. It's consistent adaptation. When 10 push-ups got easy, Gohan did 15. When 25 minutes felt short, he did 30. Water doesn't break a rock with force. It wears it down with persistence. By week 4, Gohan was waking at 5 a.m. naturally and getting 4 hours of deep work done. Not because he forced it, but because he flowed toward it. But once you build momentum, a new enemy appears. One that has destroyed more warriors than any external foe. The fire ring reveals what happens when you finally start to win. Week 4, Gohan is making progress. Then he goes online. He sees someone benching twice his weight. Someone younger closing million-dollar deals. Someone running marathons while he's proud of a 45-minute workout. The anger hits. I'm pathetic. Look how far behind I am. What's the point? He skips the next workout. Then the next. The downward spiral begins. This is where the fire ring changes everything. Musashi wrote about fire's nature, how it spreads, consumes, and transforms. Most people let anger consume them. Warriors use it to forge themselves. Musashi's own father was a renowned swordsman who either died or abandoned him. Instead of becoming a victim, Musashi turned that rage into routine. He aimed his fury at his own weakness. This is the fire ring principle. Anger aimed at others is poison. Anger aimed at your own mediocrity is fuel. Gohan's shift happened in one moment. Looking in the mirror, disgusted, he caught himself before he could think, I'm pathetic. Instead, he thought, I refuse to stay pathetic. Same emotion, different target. That voice telling you you're not good enough isn't your enemy. It's your drill sergeant. The problem isn't the voice. It's that you're aiming its fire at yourself instead of the problem. So Gohan created a ritual. Every night, he wrote down what disgusted him about his own performance. Only did 30 push-ups. Checked my phone during deep work. Ate garbage for lunch. Then, he converted each failure into the next day's mission. Anger about 30 push-ups? Tomorrow's minimum is 35. Pissed about the phone? Tomorrow, it stays in another room. Emotions aren't good or bad, they are energy. Aim that energy at yourself, and you self-destruct. Aim it at your weakness, and you evolve. Within 2 weeks, his progress doubled. Not from motivation, but from productive rage. But what happens when the rage works? When you start winning so much you feel superior. 3 months in, Gohan is a different person. He wakes at 4:30 a.m. without an alarm and hits 100 push-ups easily. His friends ask what happened. His family thinks he's joined a cult. He feels untouchable. And that's when the whisper starts. You made it. You're disciplined now. You can ease up. He stops tracking his time. Skips his evening planning. I've got this. 1 missed workout becomes 3. 4-hour work sessions shrink to 2. Within weeks, he's lost half his gains. The wind ring exists for this exact moment. In the wind ring, Musashi analyzes other schools of swordsmanship. It seems like arrogance, sizing up the competition. It's the opposite. It's a commitment to endless learning. After 60 victorious duels, undefeated, Musashi declared he was still a student of the way. He stayed hungry after decades. You got comfortable after a few weeks. The wind ring principle is this: know your enemy, and know that the greatest enemy is the version of you that thinks you've arrived. The moment Gohan stopped tracking was the moment he started falling. Not because tracking is magic, but because tracking keeps you honest. The second you believe you're above the system, you've already lost. The beginner's challenge is starting. The intermediate's challenge is consistency. The advanced challenge is overcoming the arrogance of your own progress. Gohan implemented a new system, the humility audit. Every month, find someone whose discipline makes yours look amateur. Study their methods. Feel inadequate again. Use that discomfort as a compass pointing toward growth. This is why Musashi studied other schools, to remind himself that he was just one man with one approach. To stay curious, to remain a student, but knowing you must stay humble and actually staying humble while winning are two different things. This brings us to the final ring, the one most people never reach. 6 months in, Gohan hits a wall. Not a physical one, but an existential one. He realizes a truth that almost breaks him. This never gets easier. He will have to wake up early forever. Track his time forever. Fight his weakness forever. The thought is exhausting. When does it end? When do I get to just be disciplined? The answer is never. And that is what the Void Ring teaches. The Dakoto holds the key. Accept everything just the way it is. This isn't accepting defeat. It's accepting the nature of the war. In the Void, as Musashi wrote, there is virtue and no evil. It is the space where struggle becomes as natural as breathing. The lie that breaks most people is thinking discipline is a bridge to an easier life. Train hard now, coast later. That's a fantasy. When they realize the bridge has no end, they quit. Gohan's final transformation happened in a moment of clarity. Exhausted and ready to quit, he asked the wrong question one last time. When does this get easier? And the answer came back, it doesn't. You get stronger. That is the shift. Stop asking for an easy life. Start asking, what is today's battle? The void reveals that you don't reach a point where discipline becomes easy. You become someone who does hard things automatically. Musashi painted every day, not to become a painter, but because warriors paint. The activity wasn't the point. The practice was. The tracking, the workouts, the early mornings, they aren't steps to a destination. They are the destination. The eternal practice. The void isn't empty. It's full of acceptance. Accepting that you'll fight laziness tomorrow. Accepting that the war against mediocrity never, ever ends. And here is the paradox. When you accept the eternal struggle, it stops being a struggle. It becomes your nature. Each ring builds on the last. Earth shows you reality. Water teaches you to adapt. Fire fuels your progress. Wind keeps you humble. Void makes it permanent. The rings are not a ladder you climb once. They are a cycle you live every day. The path is waiting. The only question is, will you walk it?
What if I told you that in 2025, I'm taking on a challenge so intense, it's inspired by a legendary samurai? This isn't just another disciplined experiment. It's not a list of flimsy New Year's resolutions. This is a deep dive into self-mastery that could completely transform how you approach your own goals. This is a journey to find the absolute limits of my willpower, focus, and resilience. Are you ready to see what true, crazy discipline looks like? Because this year, I'm living by the ghost of a legend, and I'm inviting you to watch. The Gauntlet. Why Musashi? Why now? Let's be honest, the whole new year, new me cliché is dead. We've all been there. We buy the gym membership, download the language app, promise to wake up earlier, and by February, we're back to hitting snooze, scrolling endlessly, and wondering where our motivation went. The problem isn't our intention, it's our philosophy. Resolutions are wishes without a warrior spirit behind them. That's why for 2025, I'm going beyond resolutions. This is a 365-day commitment, a gauntlet I'm throwing down for myself, inspired by one of the most disciplined figures in history, Musashi. So, why Musashi? Why this 17th century Ronin who, by legend, was undefeated in over 60 duels? Because he was so much more than a swordsman. He was a philosopher of discipline, an artist of self-reliance, and a master of relentless self-improvement. He wrote the Book of Five Rings, a treatise not just on sword strategy, but on mastering the self. His life was a testament to the idea that the way of the warrior is the way of everything. Master your craft and you master yourself. In a world overflowing with distractions, cheap dopamine hits, and endless noise, Musashi's principles are more relevant than ever. He lived a life of deliberate action, solitude, and singular focus. And that's exactly what I feel I need, and maybe what you feel you need too. This isn't just about the physical feats, though they will be grueling. This is a mental and spiritual challenge to conquer the battlefield of my own mind, to master my habits, and to forge a profound personal transformation. This is about discovering what's left when you strip away everything that's easy and comfortable. The 9 rules of my Musashi experiment. A challenge this significant requires a clear code, a set of non-negotiable rules that will govern my life for the next 365 days. These aren't guidelines, they are laws. Rules 1, 2, and 3. The Dawn Conquest. My day begins before the sun. Before the world has a chance to demand my attention, I seize control. Rule 1. The pre-6 a.m. ritual. I am up, dressed, and starting my ritual before 6 a.m. No exceptions, no snooze button. The first battle of the day is against the pillow, and it must be won. Rule 2. The Warrior's Log. 20 minutes with a pen and a blank page. This isn't a diary, it's a strategic briefing with myself. I define my single most important objective for the day, untangle one difficult problem, or articulate my fears to disarm them. It's about forging mental clarity by forcing thoughts onto the page, creating order from the chaos in my head. Rules 3. Embrace the shock. A cold plunge or ice-cold shower for a minimum of 3 minutes. This is a raw physical act of choosing discomfort. It trains the body and mind to withstand shock and builds a fortress of resilience against the minor annoyances of the day. Rules 4, 5, and 6. The path of mastery. Discipline without purpose is just self-punishment. These rules ensure that my energy is channeled into tangible growth. Rule 4. 2 hours of deep work every single day. I dedicate 2 uninterrupted hours to mastering a single challenging skill. For the first half of the year, it's learning to code in Python. This is a sacred phone-off, notification-free zone of pure, focused effort. Rule 5. The General's Hour. 1 hour is dedicated to strategic planning and reflection. This involves reviewing my progress, planning the next day's battle with military precision, and journaling on the insights and struggles. You can't win a war without strategy. Rule 6. Physical forging. A daily intense workout. This isn't about vanity, it's about honoring the connection between the mind and body. A strong body houses a strong mind. This can be anything from martial arts practice to heavy lifting to long-distance running. Rules 7, 8, and 9. The Fortress of Focus. To build something new, you must clear the land. These rules are about elimination, removing the mental clutter that hinders growth. Rule 7. Zero social media browsing. I'm deleting the apps. No more mindless scrolling through feeds. Communication will be intentional, not passive consumption of content designed to hijack my attention. Rule 8. No impulsive purchases. To master the self, one must master desire. Any non-essential purchase over $50 requires a 30-day waiting period. This forces conscious consumption over fleeting wants. Rule 9. The Digital Sunset. A daily digital detox. At 9 p.m., all screens, phone, laptop, TV are turned off. The final hour of the day is for reading physical books, reflection, or conversation. It's about letting the mind decompress and prepare for deep rest. These are the 9 rules, the framework for the experiment, simple to list, brutally difficult to live. The unseen struggles, what you don't see. Now, it's easy to stand here and list these rules like a stoic hero, but I need to be brutally honest with you. This is not glamorous. Week 1 was a reality check from hell. The 4:45 a.m. alarm felt like a physical assault. My mind screamed at me with 1,000 excuses. You're tired. One more day won't hurt. This is insane. The mental resistance was a thick, heavy fog I had to fight through every single morning. And the cold plunge? It wasn't an empowering shock. It was just a miserable, breathtakingly painful 3 minutes where I questioned every decision that led me to that moment. And then there's the emotional roller coaster you don't see on a highlight reel. There are days of incredible clarity. Moments, usually during that second hour of deep work, where I hit a flow state and feel invincible. But those are balanced by hours, sometimes days of overwhelming self-doubt and a profound sense of isolation. When you cut out the noise of social media and casual distraction, you're left alone with your own thoughts. And sometimes those thoughts are not kind. The feeling of missing out is real, even when you know you're on the right path. I've had to develop strategies to survive. When motivation is gone, and trust me, it disappears often, discipline has to be a system, not a feeling. I lay out my workout clothes the night before. My coffee maker is on a timer. I've written my why on a note card on my desk. I have a rule. If I don't want to do something, I just have to do it for 2 minutes. That's usually enough to break the inertia. This isn't about being a superhero. It's about being an engineer of your own willpower, building systems to carry you when your spirit is weak. The unexpected rewards beyond brute force. But for all the struggle, The rewards are deeper and more meaningful than I could ever have imagined, and they have nothing to do with brute force. First, my focus is laser sharp. I'm completing tasks and projects in half the time it used to take me, not because I'm working harder, but because I'm working cleaner. Without the constant context switching and digital fog, my mind can sink into a problem with a level of clarity I've never experienced. It feels like upgrading from an old dial-up modem to fiber optic internet for my brain. That focus bleeds into mental and emotional fortitude. The daily practice of choosing discomfort, the cold plunge, the workout, the focused study, has expanded my capacity to handle stress. An annoying email, a traffic jam, an unexpected problem, they barely register. When you start your day by voluntarily facing a freezing hell, the minor conflicts of modern life seem trivial. It's like Musashi said, to understand the way broadly, you can see it in all things. The discipline in one area strengthens you for all the others. But the most profound reward is this. I'm discovering a deeper version of myself. By eliminating the external noise, I'm finally starting to understand my internal landscape, my true limits, my real capabilities, and the profound peace that comes from intentional living. I'm not just a passive consumer of life anymore. I am the deliberate architect of my days. That feeling of self-possession, of unwavering resolve, it's a quiet power that's worth all the sacrifice. Your own journey. How to start your crazy discipline. Now, I'm not sharing this to tell you to live like a 17th century samurai. This isn't about replicating my experiment to the letter. This is about one idea. Identifying your own Musashi principles. It's about asking yourself, what is one area of my life, if met with uncompromising discipline, would transform everything else? So here's my challenge to you. Don't wait for January 1st to roll around again. Start your own version of this experiment, but start small. Forget the 365-day gauntlet for now. Musashi said to master one thing and then move to the next. Pick one challenging habit to implement for the next 30 days. Just one. Meditate for 10 minutes every morning. Go for a walk without your phone.
Read 10 pages of a book before bed. Or pick one bad habit to eliminate for 30 days. No snooze button, no processed sugar, no social media after 9 p.m. Remember, consistency is more important than intensity. The goal is to prove to yourself that you are in control, that your will is stronger than your momentary impulse. And I want to do this with you. Share your journey. Join this community of people who are tired of mediocrity and ready for self-mastery. Go to the comments right now and tell me, what is your one crazy discipline goal for 2025? What's the one rule you're willing to commit to? Let's hold each other accountable. Let's share the struggles and celebrate the wins, because the path of discipline can be a lonely one, but it doesn't have to be. This is my experiment. Now, it's time for you to start yours.